naive. I was so naive, bro. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Destiny and I like to post travel vlogs, story times, and lifestyle videos. I asked you guys on Instagram what story you guys wanted to hear this week, and everyone voted for the time that my 30-year-old boyfriend ditched me on my 21st birthday in Miami and left me without a phone or car. That is a very long title. I don't even know what I'm gonna name this at this moment. I also never thought that I was going to talk about this publicly because like I went through a lot, and it took a lot to get this man to stop talking about me on social media as well at 30. So when I was 20, I started dating this guy, and we're going to call him Tom for the sake of the video. So I matched with Tom on Tinder when I was 20 and he was 29. So it was right before I turned 21 and right before he turned 30.
I'm calling the police.
And for like background information, like our first date that we went on, this man literally showed up in sweatpants and a messy bun because he had long hair, like no effort. The comparison between me and him, like it was just not giving. So we go to this coffee shop.
Have you ever had a dream that you had
Shop, and we have like a good conversation. Like the conversation was good enough for like me to stay like a while. One of the green flags at the time that is now like not a green flag to me was that he talked really highly about like his female friends. It's like, okay, like this man respects women outside of like just wanting to be with them and stuff. So I really liked that and appreciated that. We go on this date. It's good, the conversation's good. I drank a coffee that I don't like because at the time I did not like coffee, and now I love coffee. I was so naive. I really didn't date. Like I never really dated in high school. Like I was like the weird like little emo kid, so like no one really like paid attention to me. So he was like, oh, let's go back to my house after, and I was like, okay, like yeah, we'll hang out. We go to his house. I am fully dressed up to the T, like heels, makeup, everything. This man is in sweatpants. We go to his house and his parents are chilling in the living room. This 30-year-old man, his parents are chilling in the living room. I have to awkwardly like meet them. I just met this man. I had to awkwardly meet them, walk through their house in my little high heels back to his room where we hung out and we talked and we listened to music. And this man was really trying to get me to stay with him on the first night because it was like really icy, and I was like, no, like I have to go home. Like I also like watched a kid, like so I had to be home. So the first date was like fine, and we talked about the gym. He was like really into the gym, so we started going to the gym all of the time. Like I asked him to take me because I was so shy. Like I was not gonna go into the gym. I didn't even know what to do in the gym. Like I did not know anything. So we started going to the gym, and I wasn't really still 100% sure that I wanted to like date this guy. So our first date was in December, and he left and went to California to go see his friend who lived in California, and he came back in like January-ish or like beginning of February. Well, I had Valentine's plans, or at least I had plans because I wanted to be by myself. Like, he convinced me to hang out with him on Valentine's Day. So it's Valentine's Day, and we wake up the next day and I get ready and I'm waiting on him. And I'm just sitting there waiting on him. I keep waking him up like, hey, and he said it was a surprise. I kept waking him up like, hey, what are we doing? When are we going? Like, I'm ready. And mind you, it's like 4 p.m. at this time. It is 4 p.m. on Valentine's Day after he made me cancel my plans. And eventually he wakes up and he's like, oh, well, I'm just like really tired, so I thought like we could stay in. And I'm automatically like, what? Like, you made me cancel my plans because you wanted to stay in? Like, if you didn't want to do anything, that's fine. Looking back at it, I just genuinely think there's no fucking way. I'm gonna keep going with the story time though. I don't know what the f is going on right now, but oh my god, no. But like that, I wonder if that caught on camera or if that was just me, but like that just sent like shivers. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Okay, so I canceled my plans because I'm thinking that we're gonna hang out, and I left. Like, we kind of had an argument and I left. And I sent him like a paragraph, like not like a super long paragraph, but like basically like that was disrespectful. Like, I did not like that. You could have just told me. You waited until 5 p.m. to tell me that you didn't want to do anything. You had me waiting. I could have done anything with my day. I could have taken myself on a date, and you did not openly like just communicate, like as a grown man. Like, you did not communicate that you did not want to do something, and instead you just wanted me to wait on you all day. And this man, like this grown ass man, replies back with a frowny face. He replies back with a frowny face. Like nothing. But what do we honestly expect from guys who like just don't care, but like they want you to think that they care? I don't even know how we got out of that. Like, I don't even know how we got out of like that situation, like what made us like start talking again, but eventually we did. And we were hanging out all the time, and we were still going to the gym, and I still wasn't convinced. But like this man, like at the time I had low standards. Like, I liked that he opened the door for me, and I can't really remember what else, but like there were just like a couple things, and I didn't really get treated well when it came to dating. So like just little things just really made me like, oh, okay, like he's really nice. I was also talking to like other people, and I was seeing people, and eventually like we just have like this like huge argument about it, like this big ass argument. Like, he didn't like my social media. Like, I was doing photo shoots. I was really trying to put a portfolio together because I really wanted to model, and now I'm too old to do that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I used to post on social media all the time, and that's also how I was also making side money from it. Eventually I do like this man, and we have like this like conversation, and he's like, I need your location. You need to delete everything, like all these things on social media. You have to delete every guy. You have to unfollow every guy. And like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind unfollowing every guy, but a lot of the people were like genuine friends that it was like they wanted to put a photography portfolio, and I wanted to put a modeling portfolio together. So I networked a lot through that. But I was willing to drop all of that. But he wasn't. He had 2 Instagrams, and he didn't even tell me about the second one until I just randomly found it. I had to randomly find his second Instagram that he had, where he didn't delete people. Sorry if the camera moves a little bit. Like, this was a really traumatic like point in my life, so I can't remember like everything, and I took notes down on this because if like I wanted to hit everything. I need to remind y'all that this man was 10 years older than me, and he was also a high school teacher. So this like, it was just like tiny little disrespectful things like adding on top of each other. But one day he has a birthday, and he throws a birthday party, and he invites all his high school friends over and everything, and we're all mingling, and it's fine. And him and his mom are talking in Spanish about one of his old high school friends who he hasn't seen in a long time, and she hasn't seen either. And they're just like talking like so great about her, which was fine. The couple of friends that I met of his, like, they were really nice people, so it's like no hate to the girl. But what I didn't like is that he never had anything nice to say about me. It was only that I was pretty, and I had to force that out of him.
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
I had to beg him to even call me pretty. I'd be like, you never even, like, I always put so much effort, like, you never even say like that I look good or that I'm pretty. And he just always just like have an excuse. And so eventually he did just start saying like that I looked pretty and stuff like that, but he would never say anything else. So I started really questioning if like this guy even really liked me, or like what it was. Like, why are you with me if you don't really actually like me as a person? So after his birthday party, like, I listen. They think that I don't even know what they're saying, and so I just listen. And eventually, like, after the party, we go back to his room, and we're like going to sleep, and I was like, I didn't know exactly who they were talking about. I just like knew what they were saying. So I was like, who are you guys talking about? And he was like, what do you mean? And so like I repeated what him and his mom were saying, and I was like, who is that about? And he was like, oh, my friend. For the sake of the video, we're gonna call her Bethany. We were talking about Bethany and like how we're really like supportive, and I was like, oh, that's crazy because your mom asked you don't date her right in front of me. His mom asked him why he never dated or married Bethany. That just sent red flags to me. I was like in front of my face, thinking that I did not know what they were talking about. So basically I'm like, oh, so why didn't you? Like, if your mom thinks like that you guys should be together, why did you never date her? Like, why didn't you marry her? And he was like, honestly, Bethany is everything I want in a wife, but I'm just like not sexually attracted to her. And when I tell you, like, I spiraled, because it's like, okay, like, I get it, like, you want like the physical like intimacy, but like you never say anything to me except that you are physically attracted to me. So I'm breaking down crying. Like, I am breaking down crying because my boyfriend like does not respect me. Like, this caused many problems. Like, this caused so many problems for so long. Like, I think at this time I literally drove, like, we got in such a bad argument, I drove 2 hours to go see my sister because I was having such a mental breakdown, and I'm like sobbing, crying. And I remember I'm at her house and I'm like in tears. Not only at her house, I'm at her family's house, I'm at her aunt's house, and I'm in tears. I'm crying so badly. I'm like sitting out on the porch having like hours arguments with this man. His excuse was, I just don't have anything nice to say, I just don't want to be nice to you. Putting me down as a 30-year-old man. Like, why would you date me if you didn't? But also at the same time, I wish I could go back in time and just slap the out of myself, because why did I stay? Like, but also at the same time, like, when you are so like traumatized, like, you're not gonna leave. Like, you have to like just let people figure it out on their own. Shout out to everyone who was so supportive through this entire relationship. I know I'm giving a lot of background information and I haven't gotten to the juicy parts of the story, but this requires so much freaking like background information. Like, this guy, like, one time I would cook for him all of the time. Like, anytime I made myself something, I would make him something. And one time I was gonna make breakfast and I was like, hey, do you want me to bring you something? And he said, no, just eat here, eat here. So I show up and this man literally gave me the scraps on his plate. He literally gave me the scraps on his plate, like the things that were not eaten. And this started a huge argument because I just feel like you just don't do that to someone. I literally asked you straight up, like, do you want something? I'm gonna make myself something to eat. And you said, no, eat here, and literally left me like 3 bites of your food. That is so disrespectful. Like, you're treating me like I'm a dog. Like, here's the scraps, like, here's the scraps in your plate, here's breakfast. Like, that, it's so disrespectful. And this man would do things like that all of the time. When we were at the festival, like, drenched in sweat, it's so hot, and someone was passing out water bottles, so he took it upon himself to help pass out water bottles. And he goes to hand me a water bottle and I go to grab it, and he literally like he's like this and I'm like this, and it's like so close to my hand. He sees this other girl and he goes, and I was like, because if it was me, I would have taken care of you first before I took care of everyone else around me. And that just, like, it boiled my blood because he would do things like that all of the time. He also, like, he would let people flirt with him right in front of me all of the time. Like, one time we spent 6 hours on his hair. 6 hours on this man's hair because it was really long. Like, it's way longer than these extensions. Like, it went down all the way to like the bottom of his back. And we spent 6 hours, you know, detangling the entire thing, like the finger curls, everything. Like 6 freaking hours. We go outside, we have like plans, we're going out, and we see like these 2 girls. And one girl like looks over and she's like, oh my god, can I compliment his hair? And I was like that, I loved that. Like, just the way like she like came across, like, it was really nice, it was polite. And I was like, yes, of course, please, like, we just spent 6 hours on it. She was like, oh, you did that? Like, because so her other friend is also talking about his hair, which I was having a proud little moment. Like, 1, I helped with that, and 2, like, his hair was beautiful, like, it was. And so I was like, yes, please compliment it, like, until the first friend walks away, because she was like, she worked at the hotel that we were at, and the second friend literally like discludes me from the entire conversation, and it's just him and her. And like, then I just see them like over here and I'm over here, and I'm just standing there like, okay, like, I don't exist. Like, first of all, we always know when someone's flirting with our boyfriend. You, as my boyfriend, like, you don't want me like in the conversation. Like, you're gonna let that happen and then also exclude me from the conversation. You're not even gonna notice that you guys like literally are all the way over here while I'm just standing here like looking stupid. And so we get in the car, he's just like, oh, was like that okay? And I was like, no. The first girl, she was okay, but I was like, the second girl, like, absolutely not. Like, you didn't even notice I was all the way behind you guys. You completely forgot you had a girlfriend. You left me out of the conversation. So this is like a couple weeks after I filmed. I do want to say that also, not only did they walk away and not only did he not notice, because this would happen so many times that it just like, but each time I would start a fight, and that's on me for like not just leaving and still continuing to fight and get it through this man's head, because he loved, what is it, weaponized incompetence. Weaponized incompetence all of the time. Like that was his favorite thing. That was his favorite thing. Like, you know when like girls like laugh a little bit too loud, and like she was like really touchy. Like it wasn't even just like, oh, they were having a conversation and I just didn't have anything to say, and it wasn't just like they like completely walked away and their body language was like the complete opposite to me. She was also really touchy, and he also loved weaponized incompetence, because I do feel like part of the story is not even explaining it. It's like kind of like you had to be there to like really know. So we start arguing and arguing bad. This comes full circle from the beginning, where he like made me delete everyone off of social media, like every single person off of social media, and he didn't do that. And he always had an excuse for like the girls that he kept on social media. And so he opens up his phone and it's like some girl I didn't know, and like now I know that it's toxic, but also at the same time, like those were boundaries that we both set together, both agreed on. Like, so he opens up his phone and it's some girl I don't know. And if you know anything about the algorithm, the first thing that comes on your phone is usually the person that you interact with the most posts. So I'm just like, who is this and why is she the first person that comes up? And so we're arguing. We decided to go back to the hotel. Mind you, this is after like a 3-day festival. While we were in Miami, we rented a Mustang because it's what I wanted to drive for my birthday, which I didn't get to drive. And I paid the entire trip for myself, and he paid the entire trip for himself. So we split the car. The only thing I asked for my birthday was an ice cream cake that year, which I didn't get. I didn't get a simple ice cream cake that I asked for. Rolling Loud wasn't my initial like plan for my birthday, because I didn't even know what it was until like I was with him. He got tickets to Rolling Loud knowing it was on my birthday and then completely ditched me. And so me being me, I wanted to spend it with my boyfriend, so I was like, okay, I'll get tickets too and we can go together. So he asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I literally told him all I want was an ice cream cake. My present was this hotel that he had points on his credit card for, and that was my gift. It was a really nice hotel and it was on a resort, and it was honestly really nice, yes. But so we get back to the hotel and we're still arguing because I don't know who this is. He can't, like, he has all the excuses in the world of who this is, and he made me delete everybody. So why is he acting like that on social media? I don't know. So we get back to the hotel and we're arguing so loud. So I tell him to pull up his phone, and he pulls up his phone, and I go to his search history and I click on it, and there's one person in there, and I click on it, and it's literally the entire thing is just naked pictures.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
And it's not even like half naked. Like, it's not even bathing suits. It's not even an Instagram model. Like, it's just like a girl, just naked pictures of her. They're like yelling back and forth, and I'm like, who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Like, tell me who the is this? And we're going back and forth. And so security comes up and they tell us that we're being too loud, and that if we keep it up, then they're gonna kick both of us out. And he's like, can't you just kick her out? Like, she's causing all the problems. And I'm like, I'm not causing all the problems. You're the one with freaking random ass girls naked on your phone. And so we're still going back and forth, and eventually he's like, get out. And I'm like, I'm not leaving until you tell me who the that is. And then he caves, and he's like, it's some girl that I play games with on the Xbox. First of all, you just lied to me for like the 40 minutes. Security came because we're going back and forth because you couldn't tell me who it was, and now all of a sudden you have an answer, and then you also think that I'm gonna be okay with it. And he was like, she just dropped her handle, I just looked it up, that's it. And I was like, well, that still doesn't make sense, because why did you care enough to even like search the handle up and then go on there? So we're arguing still, and we're going back and forth. And so he's like, get out or I'm calling the cops. And I'm basically like, me being me, like thinking that he wasn't gonna do anything. I was like, okay, fine, call them, because I'm not leaving. I was like, I'm not leaving, I'm not going anywhere. And so he actually does call the cops, and then I'm like, fine, I'm just gonna leave. And so he takes me to the shittiest hotel that I can find, like the shittiest hotel I can find, and then takes the car that I picked out for my birthday for us to rent and I paid half of for, takes the car, leaves me in, like, when I tell you it took me 2 hours to get to my room because like this hotel was a maze. I was having the worst time of my life. Like everything kept falling out of my luggage. Like I was like hysterically crying as well. Like I was having a terrible time. I get in this hotel and I go to sleep and I wake up the next day. I only booked it for one night because we were on and off again so much that I thought like that probably the next day like we just needed to cool down and I'd go back. I'm like texting him like, can I come back? Like this place is like freaking like, it was like such a bad hotel. And he's like, no, like you deserve to be there, blah blah blah, and like the most degrading things ever, like the most degrading things ever. And mind you, he was the one who got caught with naked pictures on his phone. I literally did nothing in this situation. A couple hours go by, I book another hotel room and I have to move rooms because I booked a different room. And so I move all of my stuff and then I realized like my charger in the old room. So I go down to the desk and I'm like, hey, I left my charger in there. Can someone go get it for me, please? Like, or I can go get it. I'll be really, really quick. I really need the charger. My phone's on 4%. And like they're taking their sweet time getting my charger, which I understand, like they're doing other things, but like it took so long. So I call him and I'm like, hey, my phone is on 4%. Can you please take me to go get some food? I can't Uber Eats. I can't get a taxi. Like I can't get an Uber. I can't do anything. Like, can you please take me to go get food and a charger? And he tells me, no, I'm not his responsibility. He doesn't have to take me to go do anything, which he doesn't. But also I paid for that car too. Like I literally paid half for that car too. So my phone eventually dies and I'm just sitting in this like this shitty hotel in the middle of Miami. I have nothing. Even the TV's in Spanish. Like I have nothing. I'm just sitting there hysterically crying, and all I'm thinking about like is if I'm gonna tell my dad or not. Like that's literally the only thing on my mind is if I'm gonna tell my dad or not. I'm even messaging like some friends that I knew that went to Rolling Loud too, like, hey, can I come stay with you guys? Like, can I please come stay with you guys? Like I have nowhere to go. This is going on. And everyone's like, no, sorry, no. So my friends are telling me like, no, I can't stay with them, like basically just figure it out. And so I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna figure it out. I'm like, I used like basically all of my money on this man. I used all of my money to come on this trip. That wasn't my original plan to do in the first place. I'm freaking out at this point. Eventually, like 5 hours later, give or take, they get my charger and they bring it to my room and I plug my phone in and I have 7 missed calls of this man literally crying on the phone because he wants me to come back and he's so sorry and that he can't believe that he would treat anyone that way and that his mom would be so disappointed in him that he ever treated anyone that way. Like little naive me who's like had like never been in a relationship before, who was like so in love with this guy for some reason, who like really wanted validation from him, was like, oh, he's sorry, I'll go back, we can fix it. And mind you, we've been on and off for like 6-7 months at this point. Like this was not anything new. So I go back and we decide that we're gonna go to the clubs. And mind you, I never even like, I did not party before I met this man. Like I never went to a club. I didn't even drink. Like I was about to turn 21. I did not even drink until I was of age because I met this man. And well, at this time I was 21, but I did not party until I met him. So we go out to the clubs and we're like really intoxicated and I loved to take pictures. And so I was taking pictures of him and Tinder notifications are popping up on his phone. And I'm just like, oh, who's, whatever her name is, I don't even know who it was, but I'm like, who's this? And he just like looks at me and I just don't say anything. I am so quiet. I don't even have like anything to say. I just go numb. Like, and I knew I wasn't gonna leave. Like, unfortunately, I knew that I was not gonna leave. So I couldn't even bring myself to argue. Like, I went quiet and we went back. We got ready for bed. We went to sleep. We had plans to watch the sunrise the next day. We got up. We watched the sunrise. I still had like nothing to say. Like I was quiet until we got back. Like even like after we got back to Maryland, I was quiet because this man ditched me knowing I didn't have a phone or resources. I also paid for this car. Like I just spent all this money so he wouldn't ditch me for my birthday. And he leaves me with nothing and is on Tinder, like inviting people to the resort that was my birthday present. That was the only thing that was my birthday present that I didn't even like get to enjoy because he had naked pictures of other girls on his phone. And I wish so badly that was the end of the story. I wish so badly that that was the end of the story, and I just like, that was it. Okay guys, story's over. But it's not over. It's not even over. It's not over there. Eventually, not long after that, we went on another off period.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Surprise, surprise, we were broken up again, and he broke up with me so he could go to Cali. And every single time he went to Cali, which he went a couple of times while we were together, every single time he went to Cali, he would break up with me and he would come back with a bunch of random people on his social media. We're broken up, and I go on, I think like one date, well, 2 dates, but with like the same person. And I'm talking to like this BET producer, and like we got along well, but I realized like very quickly that I wasn't really into him. And he also like was trying to put a portfolio together for photography. Like he was a jack of all trades. He wanted to do everything. So we would hang out and take pictures and stuff like that. And like he was really cool to talk to, and I enjoyed hanging out with him, but I knew like it wasn't going to go anywhere very quickly. So he eventually, like, we come back and he's like, oh, I want to get back together, like, because he was done doing everything that he was doing in Cali and he wanted to get back together. And so like at this point I already knew like it was gonna be a fight. It was gonna be a fight. Like, I had to tell him everything that I was doing when we were broken up, but he would never tell me what he was doing when we were broken up. So eventually I told him. I can't remember if I told him that who I was seeing or if he just like found it out, but he messaged this guy. He messaged him, talked a whole bunch of about him, got him to like completely turn against me, like just said a whole bunch of lies about me. He would also do that all the time. He would just message random people that I either used to talk to that I haven't even had contact with in years, or like he was just like always messaging people and then putting like lies in their head, and basically like just to get every single person. He even called my sister one time to get them to turn on me as well, and it worked for a little bit. It worked for a little bit until I know my family, and so like the messages that they were sending me, I was just looking at it like, this doesn't even sound like you. Like, what is even going on? So I call my sister and I tell her the entire thing, and she's literally telling me that this man just starts crying on the phone, bashing me, spreading a whole bunch of lies to get her to feel sorry for him, so everyone was against me. And at one point I literally did not have anyone, because I'm crying to my friends, and obviously like I love them to death, and obviously my friends don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm like, this man like treated me so badly. Now my family believes that I'm like this terrible person because he's telling them a bunch of lies. I don't have him, obviously. Like, at one point I was so freaking alone because he just turned every single person in my life against me, and I literally had nobody, and I couldn't go to my dad because I knew if I went to my dad, like it was just gonna be the end, and I knew I couldn't go to my dad until like I was completely ready to leave. Like, it even got to the point, like at Thanksgiving, I sat in the driveway of Thanksgiving and I was arguing on the phone with him for 2 hours while he begged for my password to go look through my phone when I wasn't even doing anything. We weren't even together at that point, and he wanted my password to go through my phone, and I can't even remember why, and I'm sure it had something to do with people on social media. When he literally was doing everything he wanted, he had a whole other social media account that he never even freaking, like, he didn't even tell me about, and I had to find it. When he would break up with me and come back and have random people on his social media, but like everything I did was so controlled, and it literally got to the point where I brought it up so many times, and I remember this so clearly. Why do you get to do these disrespectful things, but then you control everything about me? And he literally, like, word for word, he said, it is not my fault that you don't have boundaries and I do. Because I had boundaries, and I let them go, but I was still fighting for them. And that's why we fought so much. That is why we fought so much, is because I had boundaries that he was not respecting. We were together and we were talking about moving in together, and I lived with my sister, and at this point we were not getting along very well. We were arguing all the time, and I did not have anywhere to go. Like, I didn't have anywhere to go. I told my sister, I'm like, hey, I'm moving out in a couple of weeks, because we had plans for me to move in with him and he said he ran it by his parents and everything, and then after I moved in for a little bit, we were gonna try and find an apartment. This man even asked me to marry him. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, that I wanted to marry him. And obviously, thank God that I didn't, but I said yes, that I wanted to marry him. He asked me to marry him, ghosted me. Literally ghosted me. Ghosted me for 2 weeks. Ghosted me for 2 weeks. And this was like another conversation we kept having, because I was like, I understand if you need your space, but like, you communicate that. Like, you say that. You are 30 years old. You say, hey, I just need space right now. We're arguing. I just need space. But he would never do that. He would never do that. He would just ghost me and then come back, take me on like some like nice date, but that was usually targeted to him. I drove every single weekend 2 hours to go see him. He never came to see me. Every time we had a date, like one time he bought tickets to a concert. I didn't even know this person. He also didn't even tell me. He was like, and he kept trying to get me to get out of what I wanted to do, because I come from a small town and it has like the cute like little fall festival things, and I wanted to go to them. That's my favorite time of year. I do it every single year. Like, that's my favorite thing. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go to them. He wanted to go to a concert, and that's fine. But he didn't even want to tell me that he just wanted to go to the concert. He didn't want to say that. So he took me on a date. He was rushing me the entire time. He was trying to get me out of there. And then he was like, oh, I have a surprise for you. Like, you're gonna really, really enjoy this. I have a surprise for you. We go to DC. Like, I love concerts. I'll see anybody. Like, that's not the point. We go to DC. We go to a concert. I don't even know who it is. I don't know who it is. Really good though. Like, I like his music now. Like, thank you for putting me on, I guess. But like, that wasn't targeted for me. Like, single time we went on a date, it was always targeted to him. It was never what I wanted to do. Even my birthday, it wasn't even what I wanted to do. Quality is so bad because it's so dark outside now. Like, I've been talking for so long about this story, but I also like keep bouncing around because there's so much to this story. So basically, he asked me to move in with him, and also asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And then he ghosted me, and he comes. So I'm freaking out because there's 2 weeks until my lease is up. I already told my sister that I wasn't moving with her and I was gonna move in with him. She already got a place for her and my nephew. Like, I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to go. I'm crying to one of my other sisters, and I'm like, I literally have nowhere to go. And she's like, well, I've been wanting to move out. Like, why don't we just get an apartment together? So we got in an apartment. Like, shout out to her. But we got in an apartment together. It was in like this really shitty neighborhood. Like, she did not feel safe. So we moved into a nicer apartment, but it was so expensive and we could not keep up with it. This happened twice where he told me that we were gonna move in together. Yeah. So also at some point, I had a group chat with my sister and her mom because I'm really close to her side of the family. And yeah, we talked about him in the group chat. Yes, we did talk.
Yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check.
About him in the group chat. I think my sister said something, and it was like really funny. But the next time I see him, he's like, oh, you're just always talking about me in the group chat with your friends and blah blah blah. And I was like, how do you even know that? Like, he didn't look through my phone. He never had my phone, and he told me word for word what was said in there. And he would do that a lot. Like, he did that a couple of times that I'm so highly convinced that he literally bugged my phone at one point. He would message every single person. He would message every guy I used to talk to, everyone I've like had a conversation with. He got everyone on his side. He ditched me in the middle of Miami on my 21st birthday with nowhere to go, no food, no transportation, no friends. Like, he would break up with me every time he went to go to Cali and then come back with random people on his phone. Like, one time we were at dinner, and I hated when he would just like let other people talk like over me. Like, it's just a respect thing. Like, I feel like there's certain things that you do for like the woman that you're with, like if you really value her, that you just like, you wouldn't be disrespectful. And he would always let people talk over me. He would always just like, anything would get his attention before I would. So it was always an argument, and we're sitting at dinner and he just like completely like just disregards that I'm talking, interrupts me, and at this point, like, we've argued about it so much, I was just done. I didn't even talk for the rest of dinner. And then he throws a fit. He threw a fit. He told me to come back and talk, and we were supposed to go to my sister's house that was 2 hours away after this, and he threw a tantrum. Like, when I tell you, this man threw himself on the floor, when he threw himself on the floor at 30 years old, he threw himself on the floor. I don't know. He also started dressing like me at one point. Like, he was like, and I'm all for like the whole like trend of like men wearing like female clothing and stuff like that. Like, I love it when it's done right. Like, I love it when it's done right. but he literally started dressing like me, that I got to the point where he would like ask cash register, like he would ask cashiers like what they thought about his outfit, and I'd be in the back like trying to get this girl not to encourage it, because it was just so ugly. Like he just didn't even do it well. I got to the point where I was so embarrassed. Like before he would come up to my house, I would text my sister like, hey, he's wearing something ridiculous, like please don't make fun of him. Like that's how bad it got. It was so bad. Like this man was also so like emotionless. I remember like we had an argument one time about it, and he was just like, I just feel like different from everyone else. Like you're not the first girlfriend I've had that told me that. And then also in that same conversation, he told me that he's never treated someone as bad as he's treated me. And I should have left, like I should have left all of these times. The moment that everyone's probably waiting for right now is the final straw. Why I eventually left this guy. So after one of our breaks, like you know it's bad when you're praying. Like you're praying all of the time and you're
Okay.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Oh no.
Holy Spirit,
no. Oh, no.
activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Activate. Activate.
just like, I need a sign. Like, is it, girl, there were so many signs. Like, just fucking listen to them. But like, you know it's bad when you're praying and you're like, I just need a sign. Like God, is this for me or is it not? And at the time I was like really into like all of this freaking tarot readings that's on your For You page. Like I like ate those things up, like, and it was so bad for my mental health because like I was really going through it. And so eventually I don't know if he asked me or if I asked him to go see a movie, and so we agree we're gonna go to the movie, and I'm like, this is it. Like I'm gonna either know if it's worth even like, you know, being with him or not. I get there, I'm not even attracted to him anymore. Like I knew right off the bat. I had an issue because he would walk through doors and just let it hit me.
Justin slammed the door, I can't.
Like he would just like walk, forget like I'm there, and just like the door would always freaking hit me while I'm walking through it. And we would have constant issues. He would always be walking in front of me. He would always walk in front of me. Like he would never like even be walking with me. Like we always had issues because he would just like he wouldn't pay attention. Like he just wouldn't pay attention, and we would get in arguments all of the time. And I really tried to be so patient with him because I thought he was acoustic, but it really turns out that he's narcissistic. So we go to the movie, right? And we're standing in line and he's like, do you want a soda? And I'm like, and we usually split like unhealthy things because we were both like really into the gym. Like we both didn't really like eat unhealthy, and I was like, if you want to split one with me, then I'll get a soda. If not, I don't want a whole soda to myself. And he was like, well, do you want one or not? And I was like I said, if you want to split one with me, then I would like a soda. If you do not, I do not want a whole one to myself. And he just gets so mad. He storms into the movie theater. I'm following behind him. We're in the middle of a movie, and he goes so nicely, he's like, are you sure you don't want anything? Do you want a soda? And I was like, no, I'm fine. At that point, I'm just like, I'm fine. It's fine. I don't want one. We get back to his place, and I already know like I'm over it, but it's so late. So my plan, I'm gonna sleep here, I'm gonna go home tomorrow, and that's it. Like I'm like not even like attracted to him. Like they're like everything is gone. Like I have no feelings anymore. So he's like, hey, do you want a drink? Because that was his thing. Hey, do you want a drink? Like, let's get you so drunk where you're keeping up with like buff like gym guy, and you're a small like little girl who barely even drinks, who never even drank before she met me. And he's giving me shots after shots after shots, and I kept saying no. Like I said no so many times before, and he just kept like, here. It was to the point where like I had like literal like shots just sitting there because I didn't even want to take them anymore. But we would always like listen to music and stuff like that. So like we were listening to music, and then it got a little spicy or whatever. And because I know him, if I wasn't like so honest, like, hey, like I've been on Tinder because we've been on and off again. We're not together, but hey, I've been on Tinder, like you need to know, but I can't, like, again, I can't know what you've been doing, but here's everything that I've been doing. I was like, okay, just to let you know, like I've been on Tinder. And he was like, oh, that's fine. And then somehow we get like into a conversation about this girl that he literally was like saying that talk about me, and eventually said that he was lying. And to this day, I don't even know what's real, like if he really was. but like he would always use this one specific girl to like make me jealous. So I don't even know how we got on it, but we start fighting. We start like arguing about this girl. I don't even remember exactly how. But then eventually I'm like, you know what? I don't want to fight. I was like, let's just go to bed. We're both intoxicated. Let's go to bed. We can talk about this in the morning when we're not like under the influence anymore. And it's to the point where like I'm not even yelling. I'm not even responding. I'm literally just sitting there. I'm so done. I just want to go to bed. I'm telling him to go to bed. And mind you, he has kicked me out of his house like so many times to where I just like end up driving like hours to go like crash at someone's place. And so he's degrading me, like the worst he has ever degraded me. He's screaming at me, he's yelling at me, he's calling me a he's like shut the up before I kick you out. And I'm not even saying anything, like I'm not doing anything. He was like, yeah, before I go make you sleep in the cold like you deserve, and like so degrading. I literally am not even responding. I'm just sitting there. I'm letting him get it out, hoping that we can go to bed. We'll wake up, like that's it. Like it's done. He kicks me out. He kicks me out while I'm drunk. I'm literally 2 hours away from my house because, mind you, I had to move in with my sister because he kept like leaving me homeless, and I live 2 hours away. I drove 2 hours every single weekend to see him. He never came to me. He literally kicks me out while I'm so intoxicated, like so intoxicated, and I can't drive. Like what am I supposed to do? So I go back to my car, and he's like when I tell you degrading, like it was like the worst things that anyone has ever said to me. And so I'm sitting in my car and I'm crying, like what am I supposed to do? Sleep here for the night? Like that's fine, but like what am I supposed to do? So I call my dad, who happened to be in town because he went back and forth between West Virginia and North Carolina because he was getting a house in West Virginia, and he happened to be there that weekend. And I just tell him everything. Like I tell him everything like I just told you guys right now. And I'm on the phone crying. So my dad comes, and he comes and picks me up, and I go back home, and then I go back and get my car, and this man messages. I also want to say that while this man is yelling at me, he's also just like being like, oh, and like don't vandalize my house, as if I've ever done anything that was remotely like suggesting that I was gonna do that. And he just kept saying, I don't even know what you're capable of, when he's the one yelling and I'm the one trying to get this drunk man to go to sleep so we can go to sleep and I can go home. And he just kept like trying to make me out to be the bad guy. Like he was scared of a 21-year-old girl who was so much smaller than him, and also not even arguing or yelling or anything, that he literally called the cops. And while I'm sitting on the phone with my dad drunk as fuck crying, I see 2 cop cars go up to his house while I'm just sitting there. He literally messages me and is like, I just don't think it's, and mind you, like I already knew like this was over, but he messages me like, I just don't think that we're right for each other, but you're a star though. And then so eventually, because everything was so expensive and I couldn't afford my apartment, and my cat was dying and my car was having so many issues, which is a whole other story time in itself, like I literally drove to the ocean and I invited him, and he said he was gonna come out, and then he didn't come out, and then I ended up getting a flat tire just for making that trip. And then my car literally had so many issues after that because someone stole my bumper and my headlights and like ruined the wires in my car. So like my car was going down, my cat was dying, I went without electricity sometimes, couldn't afford my bills, couldn't really afford to eat. So I ended up joining the military, and while I'm at boot camp, I get a long paragraph from this man. Like, leave me alone. And then also for months after that, oh my god, the best part, for months after that, he's posting about me on TikTok. As a 30-year-old high school math teacher, he is posting about me on TikTok. And then he takes my entire personality and makes it his online personality. Like I said, he started dressing like me. He literally changed his Instagram bio to my bio, like as a full grown man. Like, I am back again. So I wanted to give more clarification again. So at the time, whenever I was dating him, I was like really spiritual. I was like a crystal girly. I I was for a long period of my life. And so I had like some spiritual quote in my bio, and then it said like 777 with like the little stars, because that's my favorite emoji. And he changed his Instagram bio to that. And then also at the time, I also made money by charging for tarot readings. I did. I used to do tarot readings. And this man literally put in his bio, like, DM me for a tarot reading. This man has never touched it. He was never interested in when I would talk about it. He literally did not care about any of the stuff whenever I would talk about it. Then all of a sudden, he literally used all of that for social media to pick up. He didn't love me. He wanted to be me. Like, that, at the end of the day, that's all it was. And it's so crazy. But yeah, that's it. That's why I eventually left this man. It took me a year. It took me a year to leave him. Okay guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. Like, I really didn't think that this was anything I was going to talk about. Also, I just want to say, like, I get it. At the end of the day, like, I should have had more self-respect and I should have left. But also, I was 20/21 and he was 29/30. He gave a lot of false promises. And I also really genuinely, because he just used weaponized incompetence like so heavily, I literally thought that he was acoustic, and I just gave him the benefit of the doubt. Like, and it just, but I learned my lesson. Like, honestly, like, I learned a lot of things, and now, like, you will not catch me in that situation again. So in the end, it worked out. In the end, it pushed me into the Marine Corps, and I really like where I am in life. Like, I'm in Japan. Like, I'm doing a lot of things that I only dreamt of, and like, that genuinely like pushed me into the direction to get all of the things that I want. So at the end of the day, it was a lesson from God, the universe, whatever. And yeah, I really didn't think this was anything I was going to talk about like online, because I've kind of just like distance myself from this entire situation. But you guys wanted the story so bad, so that's the story. That is the time that my 30-year-old boyfriend ditched me on my 21st birthday in the middle of Miami, and why I left, why I eventually got the balls and the self-respect to leave. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I post once every week. Make sure to check out these videos as well. I will see you guys next week.